All right. Do current FDA standards for acceptable and safe quantity of residual DNA present as known contaminants in biological therapies? Consider the lipid nanoparticle delivery system for the mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. This is interesting because there's lots of studies now coming out about this floating DNA from the plasmids, the way they sort of made the RNA technology and was able to sort of multiply it. Now we're seeing that instead of it getting cleaned out as we were told the way the product's supposed to be made, we have all this residual DNA. And in my understanding, you're asking, are we thinking about not only do we have these fragments of DNA, but we have this incredible delivery system that could be taking it, to places we don't want it? Is that essentially what you're talking about here?
Yeah, that's right, Dow. It's like if you're moving at the speed of science, sometimes people skip important steps.
Yeah.
And we certainly saw that with the trials that were done by Pfizer and Moderna, and we're seeing it now with the FDA. And this is just one example. I mean, obviously, there have been proper safety analyses that either haven't been released or haven't been performed by the FDA. But this is the risk of moving at the speed of science.
Right.
You're playing willy-nilly and loose with this risk of human DNA integration. And by the way, Dal, we only know about 1 or 2% of what our DNA does. The rest of it, almost all of our DNA, is a complete mystery known only to God. So it's just, I mean, it's even beyond reckless what we're seeing. But unfortunately, it's not surprising considering the track record they've accumulated in COVID.
Yeah, and the third question that you ask in this very important letter is, considering the potentially wide biodistribution of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines and DNA contaminants beyond the local injection site, have you evaluated the risk of DNA integration into reproductive cells with respect to the lipid nanoparticle delivery system? There's a lot of anecdotal, call it anecdotal evidence of women having, issues with their menstrual cycle. I'm getting a lot of anecdotal stories about miscarriage. I mean, there's a lot of investigation that needs to be happening here. And to your point, it just doesn't seem like the FDA and the CDC or the NIH, these regulatory agencies that are designed to look into these things, they're not doing that. And it's so shocking because they know they rushed this product onto the market. They know they were taking a risk, but we're not in week 2 of release. We're not in the middle of COVID. Why are you still pushing booster shots when now time is telling us, and the science that is being done is saying, look, there's a contamination in here that we were told wasn't here, and it's in levels far beyond anything that have ever been approved, and you're doing no science on this and still promoting this product. I mean, I keep thinking to myself, Joe, that this is going to be written about. There will be somewhere out in the future, there will be a historical reference and a reflection on this, and they're going to say, what happened here? Why did all science stop? Why did so many professionals? Why was the Surgeon General of Florida the only Surgeon General asking questions?
Yeah, no, totally, Dal. There will be a reckoning eventually, and frankly, I think when the real damage has been totally accounted for, honestly, I'm not sure we're going to even have a Pfizer anymore. I don't think it's going to actually look the same way.
Wow.
The harm that has been done by these vaccines, and the fact that this just basic work, hey, check. Let's do the due diligence. Let's just make sure. Yes, I get it. It's small amounts of DNA. Let's make sure that none of that small amounts, which, by the way, is equivalent to, based on some of the studies that are out there, billions of particles per dose of DNA. Let's make sure it's not ending up somewhere like in eggs or in sperm, in a place where it could be heritable, could be passed on to offspring, or could cause other problems. Let's just make sure, out of respect for the human genome, it's not happened, and it will be written about. We'll see how. I don't know what the timeline is, obviously, but I think you're right on, Del. This is going to unfortunately go down as a very sad point in history.